Mondays. We playing a video game that just dropped, College Football 25, ACC Media Days, but we have a loaded episode for you tonight, and I'm talking a Tony Montana loaded Duffy. That's the type of load that we talk about today. What is going on with UGA? And shout out to my guy Boomer, and shout out to Nino, because they've been on this for a minute. I think we have more than a culture problem, and I think it might be beyond repair. Also, we are going to travel around the nation and talk some fall camp talk. We're going to look at a couple of positional battles only on Overreaction all season. Let's go. Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown Nino Brown. Yes, sir. Welcome to another marvelous episode of Overreaction Monday. I am the governor of college football, and with me is a guy that needs no introduction, the mayor of college football, Downtown Nino Brown. We're going to kick off this episode with some rapid fire one-liners, but this time fall camp edition. And I know Nino's about to go crazy with these ones. Let's get this ride going. First stop, Chapel Hill. Who wins the quarterback battle between Max Johnson and Connor Harrell?
I'm gonna get a little long in the tooth. It might not.
No. Go ahead. Do you, bro? It's been a couple Mondays. They deserve Nino special. They deserve it.
When you tear down, it's when you're trying to refurbish your image or brand and climb back up, right? Doing this knowing you're going to be a starter most of the time. Max Johnson's phone was ringing. Definitely was buzzing when he left College Station. Don't get it twisted.
Mm-hmm.
He filled in nicely for Connor Wegman. When he went down, I think it was like 63%. Almost had 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 6. Connor Harrell, Alabama native. He's a dual threat quarterback. Yeah, I get it. We saw a little preview of that in the Mayo Bowl against West Virginia. My man was running 17 times, but only went 25 yards. What is this? It was getting sacked a lot and was just scurrying for his life. All right. He had 200 yards, passing, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. So not established. I'm going to take Max Johnson. And I'm not a Max Johnson guy. You know that.
Oh, yeah, we are.
I'm going to take Max Johnson in this scenario, in this realm, in this team. I think he's the guy going forward. Hey, don't forget the dark horse who left and came back, and Jacoby Criswell.
That's a good,
because there are people in the Tar Heels community that believe that he came back knowing that he had a chance to be a starter. You can go a deep dive down the rabbit hole, go pay, do whatever you want to do, but there ain't no word out on what's going on in this QB room, and everybody pretty much has a chance from what you read or look at. So I'm going to take Johnson here, but do not rule out Criswell just coming in like the Dark Knight.
It's certainly going to be interesting. Next stop, Columbia, South Carolina. Right now, Lenore Sellers has the edge. She was kind of named the starter already, but does Robbie Ashford have a shot at all?
Go bet your house on Lenore Sellers.
Wow.
Shane Beamer already said just like this. I told everybody in the room Lenore Sellers is QB1 on May 6th, and there ain't been a damn thing to change that. The 6'3", 242-pound spectacle-wearing QB will be a highlight reel for the Gamecocks in 2024, and I hope to God for at least a couple more years. For every touchdown pass Robbie Ashford throws, there's an interception falling right behind him, okay? 9 for 9 in his career. Actually, that's probably almost salt on the moon. My man has more rushing attempts than he does passing attempts. Next.
Next up, Dallas, Texas. Quarterback battle between Kevin Jennings and Preston Stone. This one is interesting, Nino.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. Kevin Jennings filled in nicely in 2 games. Okay. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. 54% completion rate, 2 starts versus Tulane and BC. I'm a BC guy, but some tells me if Preston Stone was in the Wasabi Bowl, the final outcome would be a different. Despite the weather, the outcome would be totally different. Preston Stone, fully healthy, is an NFL caliber talent. Yes, he might be a little slightly undersized, but 60%, 3,100 yards, 28 touchdowns, only 6 picks before he got hurt. My guy was balling. Word to Jim Jones. Arm talent, touch, vertical strength, anticipation, grit, quick trigger. Reminds me a little bit of Will Levis, okay? Yes, he does get in his Josh Allen mode where he wants to be hero and kind of gets to him. But last season, we saw development in his reads and progressions. Give me Preston Stone. Give me Preston Stone in the NFL draft.
And that was the conversation me and Jalen as well. Like, why is it this Preston Stone? Preston Stone is actually my dark horse for ACC Offensive Player of the Year. And I actually was able to ask him that question during ACC Media Days, but it was the way Rat actually spoke of Kevin Jennings. And it was like, okay, it's just one of those things, like it's a consolation prize thing. And that feeling in the room and the feeling that I got and the feeling that others got in the room was like, yo, he's really making this an open competition. And it made sense to none of us. It didn't make sense to any of us.
Here's my sense. You don't want to lose the kid to the portal,
mm-hmm.
right? Because mm-hmm. he's your future. Stone's gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Kevin Jennings is your future. But Kevin Jennings is raw, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He
extremely
needs work,
raw.
Okay? Like, mm-hmm. yes, he brings that dual threat capability. He can take off. He needs a little fine-tuning and a little more experience. Preston Stone is the guy, okay? And now, Barn, great backup we have for this season. They have for this season. If he gets hurt, well, then it's Jennings to take over. But it's Stone's team. Like I said, I believe Stone is an NFL caliber QB.
Agreed, 100%. Fourth stop, the Big Easy for Tulane's quarterback battle between Kai Horton and Ty Thompson. Nino, talk to me.
Another guy that didn't fill in badly for Michael Pratt was Kai Horton, right? 6'5",
mm-hmm.
215. In 2 games, he filled in well, I guess. Right, first start against Ole Miss, he was 40%. Terrible. 231 yards, touchdown on the pick. That's not bad. In Southern Miss, getting his feet wet, 63%, almost 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, okay? Ty Thompson has never had more than 30 pass attempts in a season, right? Again, you're tearing down, like I mentioned before. He's going from the Pac-12 to AAC. But all of a sudden, after he committed, what happened? The head coaching game blew up. Now, John Summerall is bringing in a whole new regime, a whole new mindset. It's different. Ty Thompson needs work on his footwork and his pocket awareness. Give me Kai Horton to stop.
Ooh, I like that one. Fifth stop, Berkeley, California, for an important battle between Fernando Mendoza and North Texas transfer, who I got to see in person, and he is fast, Chandler Rogers.
Entering spring, head coach Justin Wiley stated that Fernando Mendoza was QB1, but every position was a competition. Cool, I get it. And then he went and brought both quarterbacks to ACC Media Day. Odd, okay?
Yes, extremely odd.
It wasn't the only team we're going to talk about that did that, but this is team 1, all right? Mendoza had 8 starts for Cal last season, including 3 straight wins down the stretch. My man had butterfingers, had 14 turnovers, 10 picks, 4 fumbles. That has to change, right? But he was 60% with 14 touchdowns. That's a truth as a redshirt freshman, I believe, right? Now, Chandler Rogers ascended last year in North Texas, 3,000 yards, or 30-plus touchdowns total. But he's a senior. Mendoza's a sophomore. But a lot of the buzz out here is Mendoza earned the respect and trust of his teammates last season. Now, he could learn from a senior guy this year and then take over the helm next year. Rodgers isn't tearing down; he's tearing up, betting on himself. Okay,
for sure.
And that I think he might have 2 years of eligibility. I'm not really sure because they got the COVID year still, right? So it's like he might have. I think this is an open competition right here. I'm gonna have to turn the needle to Mendoza. I just think with returning talent, Jay Knott speaks highly of Mendoza. There's some guys on that defensive side of the ball that really speak highly of Mendoza. I love Rodgers, and I'm not saying that maybe there's a change midseason, but as of right now. Give me Mendoza.
Do you have a feeling that, and we saw this with a couple of schools last year, that this thing may bleed over into the regular season? And I hate when quarterback competitions do it. It's just terrible for team morale. But you think this can bleed over into the regular season?
I think it could. And Dino says Rodgers, and I think it could go that way if he doesn't button up the turnover thing, right? And I think that's going to be the thing that's going to set him aside. But when you earn respect and you get 3 dubs down the stretch, which kind of means you're starting to figure it out a little bit, right?
Right.
The only thing was the turnover ratio, whether they won or lost, was never good. He was always in the red. So that was an issue there. You know what I mean? Rodgers could come in and be the guy to establish himself. He could take over in the beginning because Mendoza doesn't have the turnover. I just think that he's got that. They brought him to ACC Media Day for a reason. I agree. There was 2 QBs. This kid's a youngin', man. They wanted to get him established. They want to get his feet wet and let him know that, you're not out. Yes, we got a guy in the portal, but that don't mean – the coach already said they got a guys in portals to compete in the same in other positions to do the same thing. So Mendoza, he earned that. You know what I mean? And I feel like the only thing that's going to keep him out is the turnovers.
Great one. Next stop, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Nino, a plethora of names. Just give me one for the starting QB for the Wolverines.
6'3", 236, big body quarterback. Been in the system for a few years. Kind of gives me the much more mobile version of Joe Milton, right? Give me Alex Orji.
I like
Okay.
that comp. Yeah.
With the loaded room, Orgy's athleticism, a new head coach in Stromo, who everyone is saying, right, is pretty much the same system, just new demeanors to the coaching staff. I truly believe they roll with Orgy to start the season. Then again, Davis Tuttle. You tell me who you would roll out week 2 versus Texas. That's a huge question mark.
Right.
Or you're going to
right.
go with the most athletic quarterback in the room if you just want to ground and pound it to figure out what your identity is. Give me Alex Orgy, bro.
I like that pick for sure. And then last stop, Durham, North Carolina, for a heated battle between Malik Murphy and Grayson Loftus. By the way, both of them were at ACC Media Days, as Nino hinted to earlier.
Everyone thought that Malik Murphy was going to steal Quinn Ewing's job last season.
They sure did.
That experience didn't last very long, right?
Not at all.
Now Murphy's in Durham and he's paired with Mike Elko, who's the new head coach. But Grayson Loftus was throwing the fire last season when Riley Leonard and Henry Bevan went down. 6 full starts, had 1,000 yards, had 8 touchdowns, only 4 picks. Versus UNC, a rival, 3 big-time throws, ended up being 3 touchdowns in that game, 200 yards, 57% completion. The next week, granted, true freshman comes in against West Virginia on the road. Both games are on the road. 60%, 270, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. Malik Murphy versus BYU and Kansas State combined, 430 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I think that in the spring game and the shiny new toy aspect, Malik Murphy looked good against his teammates who were wearing spandex and really weren't trying to hit nobody. And everybody said, whoa, look at this guy. And then when he got thrown in the fire against competition, mind you, BYU wasn't anything great last year. Kansas State defensively was good, and they had some pieces off.
And they almost blew that game after having a 20-plus point lead, if I'm not mistaken. Down the stretch, they really almost lost that game.
You have a true freshman kid that got 6 starts, shows you he's got grit, shows you in a rivalry game he's going to sit there and just fire away, and you brought him again to ACC Media Day. Now, I kind of feel like Murphy had no choices. You don't want to lose this kid anyway, possibly. Right. You got to keep him in there. You want him locked in no matter what. So I think it's going to be a battle right to the end. I'm going to go Grayson Loftus here. I just think that, like, the games down the stretch, he did what he's done. Now you got a little more experience. What sucks is because it's a new coaching staff. So it's all new. It's like an open party for both guys, right? You haven't heard anybody standing out, right? I'm going to go with the kid that was there last year, the kid that's kind of got some chemistry with some of the people. I know he's lost his running back. He lost some guys in the wide receiver room. Like, the offense is going to be different, but it's the kid that was there. It's the kid that kind of knows the culture that's there. It's the kid that a lot of guys on that team kind of, mustered up and was like, got behind. Man, they're like, all right, we're going to our last option. Oh, shit, he's not really the last option. Maybe this kid is the future. You know what I'm saying? As a true freshman, he was out there ball. Give me Grayson Loftus, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one, and I think it's a 50-50. I think you can't be wrong either way. Nino, let's talk about the college football playoff, but more importantly, the G5 automatic qualifier. But we're going to exclude Liberty, Memphis, Toledo, and Boise State. Give me some teams that can give them a run for their money for that automatic bid in the college football playoff.
It sucks because I had Memphis as my other team, but I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. I mean, outside of those teams, the 2 teams that nobody's really talking about except for me and Jared, James Madison and App State. Like, I have a feeling that they're going to win.
App State is
conference.
Dangerous.
Joey Aguilar's the dude, right? Caden Robinson on the outside was 10 touchdowns last year alone. The kid's probably going to get another double-digit season. They lost Nate Noel, but they have guys like, I'm mistaking his name right now, running back off the top of it. Robinson, Kyrie Robinson, he's there, right? He's a dude as well. So, like, they got guys. I feel like the game against each other, right, is where the winner of that is going to win that conference. Could go undefeated, mind you, as well. So that's where it's going to put a little thought box in everybody's plan for these teams like, Boise and Liberty, like they said, like Garrett, because these guys win their conference with 1 loss or undefeated. How are you going to tell them that they don't get the automatic bid? Like, what's better? What makes your conference any better than my G5 conference? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't sleep on Memphis. I think Memphis could be a bulldog in this. Seth Hennigan is 100%, bro, they got 2 wide receivers on the outside that could have 1,000-yard years, right? They're bringing in Mario Anderson from the SEC. This dude's tearing down after getting 1,000 yards with an offensive line that was Swiss cheese. Okay, like, yo, he should go for 1,500 easy and be a receiving threat for them. I love Dylan Morris for JMU. I love the new coaching staff they brought in there. They're straight, but they're gonna run the ball down the throat. Ayo Adio is going to be a threat for them running the ball. Like they're going to have a season. App State and James Madison are 2 teams, 2 coaching staffs, just ready to cook, built to win. Showed you can win back-to-back years. App State's always been a giant killer too,
and it's hard to go in Boone and get a victory. I was at the game last year when JMU was red hot, when they were trying to fight for the ability to play in a conference championship, fight for the ability to play in a bowl game.
Yep.
And App State went in there and got a victory and ended their win streak.
App State gave the Patriots' new quarterback a run for his money. He was all over the place, but in the end, they've been that team that can come in there against the Giants, against these ranked teams, and either put them on their backside or give them a run right down to the end with it. Now they're making them question themselves. So give me James Madison, App State. I hate to beat the dead horse, but outside of Memphis, I don't really see. I think Tulane's got a lot of work. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of moving parts. I love the running back.
How you feeling about Texas State?
I feel like 8 or 9, but I don't think that's automatic.
You don't think they'll have enough?
I originally I had them winning the conference. When me and Dean out talked, we did an episode earlier.
Also, shout out to P2P. If you want to learn more about G5 football, they got an episode coming out tomorrow, 8:05 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Check it out. They're going through. They're talking about a lot. Tomorrow's Coastal Carolina, correct?
Correct.
You guys are talking. Come on, man. The content is here. Check it out, please.
I like this schedule, right? Lama, UTSA, Arizona State, Sam Houston, Troy. Like Troy's got in a rebuilding process. They lost a lot of pieces. So,
they did.
I don't think Sam Houston State is going to be an issue for them. Arizona State could be. Okay, we're going to talk about a guy on Debbie Dollins and Sammy Leavitt who could be the guy in the quarterback room over there and lead this team to a turnaround. But like they got LA Monroe, Old Dominion, Arizona State. Those should be dubs. They could make a run. The UTSA game is going to be, but I see them with like 1, maybe 2 losses. And that same thing with Dinon. We talked about it. He thinks that they're going to lose to the UTSA. That's his guaranteed L there. The Georgia State game was my question. Del McGee is probably going to turn them around. There's going to be games where they're going to be in games they shouldn't have been in. You know what I'm saying? And maybe they can just be a little more physical than other teams and sneak dubs in. So, and that's going to be the end of the year. You know what I mean? And then they play South Alabama, and that's that at South Alabama.
At South Alabama,
that's a game. You know what I mean? This is going to test them. Like at the end of the season, they got back-to-back games to close out. So I had them winning the conference. I still think they could. I don't know. I have a feeling that the winner of the Sun Belt Conference can be undefeated. So for me, undefeated team in a G5. In a group, and they got to be the one. They got to
right. Plus conference
you
championship.
see Liberty running the table. I don't see Boise running the table.
That'd be difficult to do. Yeah, boy, it's tough in the Mountain West, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. It's no guarantees out there.
If Memphis were to beat Florida State week 3, watch out. Like that, then you got a real, because then they go Navy, Middle Tennessee, South Florida, North Texas, Charlotte. That's a run. You could be undefeated going into that game against UTSA, right? And then it's Rice, UAB, and then I know the game's at Tulane to close out the season, but at that point, Memphis should be a juggernaut on all cylinders. You know what I mean? Like you look at it.
They're your favorite overall. Memphis is your favorite?
No.
Yeah,
Memphis or James Madison.
Memphis or James Madison?
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So we are going to switch the topic a little bit. It's going to ruffle some feathers, but it seems as of late that when it comes at a cause in the world of college football, the Georgia Bulldogs every offseason for the past few off seasons have had numerous arrests. Most recently, wide receiver Ra Thomas, who was also arrested last year. Dude,
We'll get there.
he hasn't been released, but he has been suspended indefinitely. But I believe he should be released. Running back Trevor Etienne was also arrested back in March. Per the AJC, Nino, there have been 24 arrests for driving related incidents since January of 2023. Also, and you're going to get some pushback here. Lowest college football graduation rate in the Power 4 conferences at 41%. The next lowest is UCLA, who's at 64%. Granted, they send a great deal of players to the NFL, but still 41% is terrible, especially in comparison to a program like Clemson, who graduates 99% of their players. Nino, is this culture beyond repair? Is this an overreaction, or does changes need to be made?
That was the face in my mind. Boomer got when he asked Stetson Bennett arrested.
Yeah, shout out to Boomer. Yeah.
Arrested for public intoxication.
Right.
If there was a culture issue at Georgia, and
I remember that. I remember
scrunched his face up as if it was like he had bit on a lemon head or something.
This is at the NFL Combine, right? 2023.
Yeah. And then we had Jalen Carter incident, right, where speeding, reckless driving, and there was loss of life from a fellow player and I think it was a recruiting analyst,
a coach.
Another NFL guy, Jamon Dumas-Johnson, racing, reckless driving. It don't matter how experienced, how many years you've been a junior, senior, freshman, Alaba, offensive lineman, speeding 20 plus miles over the speed limit. Delian Morissette arrested 3 separate times for speeding. 91 in a 65, 81 in a 45, and he got arrested for DUI and drug charges. Small London Jr. racing on the streets and highways with a freshman, DeMelo Jones, who was also racing on the streets and highways. A week prior, Bo Hadley, freshman defensive lineman, reckless driving arrest. Now, you mentioned Trevor Etienne, DUI, reckless driving, underage possession of alcohol. That was all dismissed. So Kobe White, freshman, reckless driving on the wrong side of the road. Something makes me think that there was something that impaired him to be driving on the wrong side of the road. Well, that wasn't mentioned. We'll just let that go. Javon Bullard, DUI. Kendall Milton, when he was there a couple years ago, arrested for going 80 in a 65. Rosemary St. Jack got arrested 3 separate times for speeding. I mentioned Stetson Bennett, public intoxication. Ra Thomas. What is going on? Now, I thought it was odd that he got arrested earlier in the year. We spoke about this, right?
We did.
They labeled it as family violence and how did they word it?
I forgot the verb.
False imprisonment. Okay, that's pretty much just a shiny way of kidnapping, right?
Right. That's what it is. Let's
made it sound nice,
right?
And now he gets 3 counts of cruelty to children and 3 counts of battery. No, Dino, man, you are 100% correct. We talked about this before. You mentioned in the chat here. 31 people were arrested during Urban Meyer's Florida 6-year tenure. This smells like Urban Meyer 2.0.
It does.
We're talking about people that got, suspended only for 4 games for alleged stalking their girlfriend and texting them, "It's time to die, bitch," and Chris Rainey.
Come on,
okay,
bro.
All right. Well, we're talking about a team that had Aaron Hernandez, and he said he had over his house for Bible study. Okay, these 2 people got arrested for 10 counts of crimes ranging from misdemeanor battery to felony domestic assault to felony theft to domestic battery. Oh, but he learned this lesson when he went to Ohio State. No, because Carlos Hyde got arrested for allegedly assaulting a woman he didn't. But what happened is when you win, everything's all Gucci, baby. Everything's gravy. We don't care. We just sweep it under. I'll hold the rug for you. You just keep moving the broom, my good man. But don't mess up. Don't mess around and not be in the SEC championship. Don't mess around and not be, in the Final Four of this 12-team college football playoff, because the Gremlins, they're growling. And it's getting a little cloudy over in Georgia. And when the Gremlins get wet, watch out, because they come growling for everybody to make mischief and mayhem. And they will be coming for Kirby. But if Kirby keeps winning, it's culture. What culture? I can stick my nose up like I'm Stetson Bennett, and it don't matter because we do what we do. Stetson Bennett, not to mention a guy who was in college for 6 years, been away for 2 years, had to leave football for a year, still ain't graduated college. They don't give a damn about if you go to school, if you show up to class. It don't matter. I want your talent on a football field so we can go get a natty, because they made it very evident with 41%. I mean, the guys go back to school to get to get diplomas and graduate.
Right, for sure. All the time.
So you could have got some inflated numbers in that 41%. It could have been like 35%, in a normal time span. Like, it's bad. What happened? Everybody loved Urban. Urban even stepped in the shit, knowing he stepped in the shit, right? And when he got to Ohio State, knew stuff that happened, didn't report it, knew he was going to get in trouble, and they still loved him. He only got in trouble when he was gone. You know what I mean? Like, Kirby, I know winning means everything to you, and now you're taking shots at the young buck. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
At all.
Don't go taking shots at my boy Dan Lannon about NIL money or any of this stuff. You just worry about the skeletons in your closet and winning, because that's what needs to happen, my friend. You need to handle business. You, my friend, need to make sure that you clean up everything around. If you got to pay the people that you got to pay to make sure those skeletons don't come out of that closet, well, my friend, that's on you. But the fact that Ra Thomas is still on this team is an absolute disgust. If I was his teammates, I would be like, yo, coach, what's the deal? This guy can go do whatever the heck he wants. And no, we don't get rid of him. None of that. Like, it don't make no sense. I don't understand how this dude could just still have a spot on a team, a scholarship, right? He's suspended indefinitely, but he's still on campus, which means he can still go to school, right? He can still reap the benefits of being a scholarship football player. Nah, kick that dude to the curb, bro. You can't keep your nose clean, right? You can't do what we ask you to do. You already got in trouble once for dumb shit in this year. Yeah. We're a week away from starting fall camp, and you can't keep yourself on the straight and narrow, bro. Not like a small 6 counts of 6 charges, bro, on kids, which pretty much means you fought a kid that was under the age of 18, bro.
He's got to go. He has to go.
Like, he had issues with the team before he came here when he transferred. He did. Problems follow him. It seems as though problems just go to Georgia. They got good lawyers that will find a way to get the charges dropped.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing what winning does in the world of college football.
But where does the culture issue start? At the top? For the guys that are enablers? For the guys that let that happen? Maybe it's not all on Kirby. Maybe it's on the AD a little bit. Maybe it's on the president of Georgia. Like, you got to start taking some heat for this shit. You know what I mean? Like, look at Alabama. They were winning. Nick Saban was still winning. I had enough to cover everybody's ass at Alabama. But Oates was in the fire.
Right.
You can't avoid it. Like, at some point, it's going to come catch you. You just be ready to catch that heat, bro. Like, you better have that Vaseline ready, because the ass is going to get burnt. You want to play with the fire, you know what happens, right? And that's what he's doing. He was pretty much, I know the devil. I know not the devil. I don't know. This is the devil. I know. This is the route I'm going. What makes me wonder, did that tree have, is that coaching tree, or the problems from everybody in that coaching tree that we don't know about yet? The trickle down, it felt like a shower head out here, right?
is bad. Like, to see 41% on paper on it, like you said, some of that is boosted because people go back to school all the time, right, and get their diplomas, but to be 23% lower than the next lowest school, you have issues. And then you talked about all of the arrests, and then some of these arrests are, some people would call them petty arrests. They're not petty arrests at all. Like, driving 20 miles over the speed limit the wrong way.
Yeah, right.
Who 90 you, bro? Like
80 and a 40? That means you're going down like a residential road, like a neighborhood road. Booting. Come on. Like, a kid comes out on a bike, it's good night, Irene. Right. Like, that's just
out the East Coast in the building again.
You know want to say it's just insane. Like, I just don't understand it. But like Kirby. Hey, maybe. And here's the thing, right? Maybe Kirby got dirt on somebody. Maybe Kirby got dirt on somebody where he just like, I'm Tony Montana off this MFI. I do what I want.
Right.
Who won't test me now? Huh? Come to the table. Like that dude in what was that movie? Belly. Who won't test me? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he just sit there with shooting off his gun like, I'm here. Come take me out. Like, but if you don't win, it's gonna be more than one person coming to test you. They're gonna bum rush you.
Is this just the cost of doing business? Like, hey, I'm gonna get you some championships. It's gonna come with some crap, but I'm gonna get you championships. Is this the cost of winning in college sports?
No, Nick Saban, as of right now, we never heard nothing bad. Nicky did, right? Nick Saban didn't do nothing wrong. I mean, other than Brian Johnson wanted to do some stupid accent and dancing. I mean, Brian Kelly, he ain't really.
And they had a few players arrested, not quite this many, but they have a few.
Well, yeah, LSU's had that shit. Alabama's had it. 3. But what? Every time someone got Saban's at the podium addressing the issue, right?
Yeah.
Alabama graduating what? 80% of their kids. Right?
Yeah, they are. It's a huge difference.
75+%
it's a huge difference. Kids. Not 41.
Now, it's a different. You're talking apples and pineapples.
Right. It's damn sure not apples to apples.
It's just crazy. I'm kind of dumbfounded. It would be nuts if we hear mid-season, end of the year, off-season rumblings of Kirby to the NFL. If we start hearing that stuff, once again, we were ahead of the table.
I need everybody to keep in mind that we did a segment on No Country for Old Men. Lo and behold, we didn't know. We didn't know that. I mean, 9-10 months later, that Nick Saban would actually be retiring, but it was looked upon as crazy during that time period. So you hear something like this, Kirby not going to the NFL. I'm gonna just mention that, and you can go back and find that No Country for Old Men episode. It was an emergency episode. I think me and Nino have done one emergency episode. I know him and Boomer have done a couple of them, but yeah, that's crazy. Nino, let everybody know what you've been working on and where they can find you at.
CFB Nation, that's home. That's what we grind out. That's what we do. P2P, Debbie Dollins, Overreaction, CFB Prime. That's home. I'm also, I cook over there with Debbie DJs and my guy Nerd Boy Mike. We'll be going. I think we'll be doing something on Friday. Cooking up an episode over there. But that's where I'm at. It's the two sides. I dwindled down. This is where I'm at now. It's we're back in off season. I spread the branches, help do my thing. Now we're coming back to season. It's time to lock and load. Okay. We're going two teams. That's it.
Two a week. These preview episodes about to come up. Week 0 will be here in just a couple of weeks, man.
It's crazy how fast it came up, right? Less than almost 32 days or 30 something.
And we held you down the entire what they call it, like all season. I don't know. Like that. Is that what it's called?
Crazy word starts with I don't know.
I think that's what they call it. But we held you guys down the entire all season. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in the sport that survive and advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And until next time, y'all already know what it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Today I am the governor of college football. Yes, sir. The mayor of college football, a.k.a. Downtown